Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. In the dying days of 2023, Liz Truss announced her resignation honours list. Despite only being Prime Minister for 49 disastrous days in which she tanked the economy, doubled mortgage repayments, ruined the lives of millions, and possibly did in our late Queen, she's been allowed to nominate 11 people for honours, at least 10 of which are completely unearned. These include Westminster lobbyist and Vote Leave chief exec Matthew Elliott, Conservative Party donor Sir John Moynihan, and Truss's Deputy Chief of Staff Ruth Porter, who have all been made unelected lawmakers for life in the House of Lords. Tory MPs Alex Shelbrooke and Jackie Doyle-Price have been made a knight and a dame respectively. CBEs are going to privately educated toffs Sophie Jarvis and Shabia Morali, aides and advisors to Truss, while she was committing to unfunded tax cuts at a time of unprecedented economic turmoil, which led to more economic turmoil, as simply no one wanted to invest in a government that seemingly wanted to effectively bankrupt itself, while our debt to GDP ratio was running at around somewhere like 100%. It's worth noting that Truss's mini-budget was roundly rejected by the Office for Budget Responsibility because it was batshit insane. Also up for gongs are Tory MP Rob Butler and Susan Webb, who scored a couple of OBEs, the South West Norfolk Conservative chairman David Hills, who got an MBE, and writer of erotic fiction Shirley Conran, the only non-political name on the list. But because of this collection of toffs, dickheads and ne'er-do-wells, it's that Brexit-loving slimeball Matthew Elliott getting a seat in the House of Lords that really sticks in my craw. And not just because Truss famously campaigned to remain. No wonder we didn't win. I can't think of many people in British public life more evil than Matthew Elliott. And yes, we do seem to have a bumper crop of very rich, very powerful, evil little fuckers running the joint right now. I blame the private schools, like the one that Elliott attended. But then, of course, I'm biased. Visit privateschoolmafia.com if you'd like to find out why. Not only was Elliott the chief exec of Vote Leave, he was also the founder of the Taxpayers Alliance, a low-tax anti-regulation pressure group, one that gets tremendously upset when public money is spent on the public good, and goes remarkably quiet when public money is channeled into the back pockets of their old school chums instead. The ironically named Taxpayers Alliance, offshore bank accounts aplenty, has provided a training ground for many of the knobheads who are now in government via the Tufton Street Network, a group of organisations linked through their use of the same office building in Westminster. But the worst thing, the absolute worst thing that Matthew Elliott has done is that he was a founding member of the Conservative Friends of Russia, a Vladimir Putin ball-chortling society of incredibly well-connected, rich and problematic conservatives, including the likes of Malcolm Rifkind, John Whittendale, Robert Buckland, all privately educated, of course, as well as Andrew Rosendale and Nigel Evans, both of whom have been arrested on charges of sexual assault, although I must stress that Nigel Evans was found innocent in the subsequent trial. This group allegedly facilitated funding directly and indirectly to the Tory party from wealthy Russian oligarchs, gangsters, psychopaths, and ex-KGB agents. The Conservative Friends of Russia has been seen by some as a catalyst for Russian interference in our political system in the Scottish referendum of 2014, the British general election of 2015, and the Brexit fraud-referendum of 2016. They were also directly implicated in a scandal made public by Sergi Christio, a Conservative Party activist and former journalist with the BBC World Service, who claimed in 2020 that MI5 repeatedly refused to investigate evidence that an alleged Russian spy was attempting to cultivate influence with senior Conservative politicians and to channel illegal funds into the party. It's also worth noting that this group of Tory shitbags, these Russian dictator-loving Putin arse-lickers, publicly attacked Labour MP Chris Bryant in 2012, publishing a press release featuring a picture from 10 years earlier depicting the MP in his underwear. Nice. This happened to be around the time that the chair for the all-party parliamentary group on Russia was due for renewal. At the time, Chris Bryant was the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on Russia. Needless to say, Matthew Elliott is one of the scummiest scumbags to have ever slimed from the scum of the scummiest sewers of Scumville. And yet now, thanks to Liz Truss, pound for pound, the most disastrous Prime Minister in British history, he is now an unelected lawmaker for life in the House of Lords. It's worth noting that when Tony Blair resigned as Prime Minister in 2007, he didn't make an honours list, even though he had been Prime Minister for 10 years and presided over a period of unprecedented economic growth in which our economy doubled in size. That was 17 years ago, and it hasn't grown since. The Tories tried to sneak out Truss's list alongside the actual New Year's honours list, hoping that it wouldn't pick up too much controversy. But I think it says a lot about the Conservative Party and what it stands for. It stands for nothing. It has no principles, no morals, no understanding of basic human decency. It is a vast cesspit of all the worst human beings on this island. Amoral psychopaths who, had they not been born rich, would have been locked away years ago. A cacophony of elites, toffs and wannabes who cannot help but fail upwards. People are calling for the Prime Minister's resignation honours list to be scrapped going forward. I'm hoping that Keir Starmer will go one stage further and get rid of the House of Lords entirely and replace it with an elected second chamber. I, for one, I'm done with this increasingly ridiculous, unelected House of Charlatans, this nest of cronyism, nepotism and chumocracy, this upper chamber that counts amongst its numbers the likes of Ian Botham, famous for once accidentally tweeting a picture of his knob. Claire Fox, famous for her support of both the IRA and paedophiles. Evgeny Lebedev, the son of a former KGB agent, and the man some say convinced Boris Johnson and Michael Gove to back Brexit, the greatest act of self-harm this country has ever known. Also, there is done nothing, been nowhere Charlotte Owen, and of course, the pandemic profiteer, wanted scam artist and embezzler of public funds on a biblical scale, Michelle Mone. All unelected lawmakers for life. The House of Lords has got to go. It is as simple as that. The good news is, the last time I checked, the Tories were still 20 points behind in the polls. We're going to have a general election at some point this year. And in the words of Jake Shears from the Scissor Sisters, it can't come quickly enough. Let me know what you think of Liz Truss's resignation honours list in the comments below.